viewers, casting, streaming this game, Magic Duels. I'm going to be trying my deck of the horrors to try to find also some interesting matches. So the last time this deck got a single win and 2 losses, mostly because for once getting the mana in the proper amount it was not easy one of the times, and secondly we weren't carrying enough weapons or tools to deal with enchantments, so this new version is loaded with a few bounce spells, so we gain some time against the powerful enchantment or planeswalkers cards, and we have also a little bit of card discard for the opponent in this opportunity. So let's see if we get something out. So I want to take this chance to send my best regards to Carefree Coding. I hope he's watching this, and I want to wish you a happy paternity. He's expecting his new child soon, and he's one of my favorite YouTubers out there, so I wish you the best of the lucks there. Now, focusing in the game. So another difficulty that we had last time is that I failed to cast Broken Concentration on a couple of times, which was kind of funny because actually I broke my own concentration with talking too much. So I think here it's about casting another Evolving Wilds, and yeah, or maybe a Skyline Cascade wouldn't be so bad actually, but mm, kind of too many lands here, and the opponent now knows that we are not going to be doing much with just a single black, so he can freely play his card. Apparently it's a vehicle deck, is not a good matchup for us because these vehicles are not creatures, they are artifacts, and therefore they are not going to be affected by the transformation of this thing in the ice. But now we have the Welcome to the Fold, that if we somehow manage to cast, maybe if we somehow activate Madness, we might even steal a vehicle from the opponent. So no, I think probably I should have used one of the Skyline Cascades. That way I would have enough mana to cast the Broken Concentration. Yeah, I think I missed that. Now the opponent is not playing a vehicle, that's good for us. So here this one can fabricate. Let's see if the opponent chooses to use the counter or the token. It was a token. So probably I think the opponent has some vehicle that he's about to crew, paying 1. So let's get our counter spell ready. So yeah, we could steal this now. So if the opponent crews a vehicle, it's going to be bad. No, I think I'm going to counter next vehicle here. Yes, sorry for the indecisions here, but I think that dealing with this guy is a better option than stealing one of these. But we get 6 points of damage. Ouch. That's going to be quite a hit here. But now we can play another my first Skyline Cascade. Yeah, let's do that. And so yeah, let's hold back another counter spell. The opponent probably knows that we have a counterspell with us, so he might be playing something cheap to dodge the counterspell, but instead is one of the most powerful vehicles. Yeah, well, for mana, but still we don't want to see that in the hands of the enemy. So attacking for 3 again. Now the opponent, let's think, is the opponent running removal? Because having the Docent of Perfection out as soon as possible is going to be, it's going to be able to block these guys. But Wharf Infiltrator might habilitate us to use the Welcome to the Fold. So let's still keep this. We are at 8 life. I think I have to play like this, and probably this is not going to see much play, because if the opponent has creature removal, is going to use that now. If he has a powerful vehicle, this dies. It's another pilot. So this buffs all other pilots here. So this one attacking, a bad sign. Let's see. No, he probably has some instant there. So I think the ice plus Welcome to the Fold seems to be proper here. Yeah, but not much hope here. We could try to steal this guy to decrease the damage from the other ones. But the opponent has something in his hand. So let's see what the opponent has in store. Fiery Conclusion would be really bad, but I think we're not going to live to tell the story here, but let's hope that somehow we survive. But if the opponent has the Sovereign of the Sky, I think it's called, or Chandra, or anything that deals damage, we are screwed. So let's see what happens next. Now here we are forced to block. So he can choose to pay X to filter. So he paid 5. That tells us that he has a 2 mana instant there. The question is, how do we block here? Let's see if this works. Galvanic Bombardment goes to the flyer. Well, not the worst. Yeah, I think my blocking options were fine. And well, yeah. I think these 2 out are going to be just good. Now let's try to reduce the opponent's health somehow. Anyways, if the opponent has another Galvanic Bombardment, blocking this 2/2 is not going to be too profitable for us. Now if he wants to attack, he has to be able to deal with the Ingenious Scab, but this guy is going to start making thopters. Lucky for us, if we get to flip Think in the Ice, the opponent is going to lose all thopters. Yeah, so that's not going to be too useful here. Well, I think I should have held that land in hand. So let's send these two guys into attack mode and let's see. No, actually, three of them, and see what happens. Opponent is going to activate to gain a token, and probably he wants to block these other ones. Let's just say, he is Choo-Choo. I was afraid that the token would kill the Dwarf Infiltrator. Yes, let's discard the Vampire, paying, of course, the Madness. Pay 2 to get our 3-2 Eldrazi token. There we go. Well, that's our deck working, but we are not out of danger actually. Opponent can happen to run double galvanic bombardment. No, this can only point towards creatures. Yeah, but well, 5 damage, high life is pretty scary. So he kills this creature. He has 4 attackers and we have only 2 blockers. Yeah. So let's prevent here and here. Yeah, that's the best blocking for us. But build smash. Yeah. Ah! +3, +3, plus trample also. So there was no way to save ourselves from that, I guess. So let's proceed to the next game. A little way too heavy on the lands in the initial hand. So the counter spells did a pretty nice job in holding the opponent, but that deck was very aggressive to us. Yeah, if I should have noticed that the token was going to appear as a choo-choo. That will have that way I would not have not attacked with everything, so I could have survived for another turn. But even then, the opponent had the +3/+3 and trample over his token. That was not going to be easy to use. So here we start with the Dwarf Infiltrator, but no black. But we have a Stitched Mangler on the way. Given that we have no black, I think this is a Skyline Cascade turn, so we can drop Wolf Infiltrator, follow up with the Stitched Mangler. Come on, this Skulk is quite powerful. Sometime in the future I'm going to build a deck with the Skulk mechanic on it. So nice addition, the Ingenious Scab. So if we get into our black land, this hand is going to prove pretty powerful. Stormkir Condemned. He has too many arms because this one is an horror. Maybe this is not her arm. Alright, from your Templar. Why do I have... yeah, this is here because we might discard this at some point. Now, the sad part is that the Visionary can actually block our Infiltrator. Yeah. not too funny. So let's drop the scav here and let the opponent try to deal with this one. This card is really powerful. Prowess, and you can pay blue to make him more deadly. So uh, it's I think it's strange to not see this card played much more, but now that I have it has brought my attention to this, I'm going to be trying it much more often. So the opponent might be trying to use some buff, otherwise this attack makes zero sense. We take one, and now the opponent probably is going to play a ramp spell since we didn't block. Oh, Twin Bolt. So the actual target for the opponent was the Ingenious Scav, because if we had blocked, therefore we could have received little damage, but now just activating this and this a couple of times, we deal 4 to the opponent, and we're running short on lands here. That is the issue with the deck. Come on, black, you are there. Come on. Card number 50, please be a swamp. You know you want to be a swamp, please. So the opponent doesn't want to use this for block, so he probably has a creature to follow up. Or another Twin Bolt. Actually, Twin Bolt, if we activate the Ingenious Scav, Twin Bolt kills him unless we play something to activate Prowess. Let's see. Well, it was a land. We're getting closer to the docent of perfection. Let's see what happens when we attack. Now the opponent having red mana opened makes me not wanting to activate the Ingenious Scav. So we missed a few points of damage, but the Ingenious Scav is alive. And since this is our only card in play, I think it's fine. Another point of damage. Now the opponent has 5. He's not playing much here. Maybe he thinks we have a counterspell that we could have. Ah, come on. Give me something with black, please. Come on. 4 cards and no mana to play them. Well, we are winning the race at the very least. Here comes the ramping. So actually now, instead of black, I will love to have some counter spells, but if the opponent runs Chaos Revenge or any number of creatures that cannot be countered, we are in trouble. Well, this is murdering me. Alright. Well, a bit boring this now. What is the opponent going to do? Fiery Impulse. So this deals 3 to our guy. And we can't play anything, so we have to discard to hand size. Well, Well, we don't have to discard, but we need to have something out. And if the opponent has another fiery impulse, this one dies. Now he has 2 reds. So it, kill this. No. Alright. We were having troubles with our mana, and now the opponent destroyed one of our lands, and we still are not drawing our lands. Come on. Come on. I'm thinking of running 25 lands in this deck. So please play something that spends all your mana here. Come on, Nissa's Pilgrimage. Well, we can't afford to let the opponent play anything else, but if we don't draw a black land, what to do here? Okay, black, or alright. We have 7 cards that we can't play, and the opponent has 8 mana open plus a creature. I think is about to admit that we lost that one. Let's just check a little thing here. So the deck 22 blue permanents plus 14 black, and we have 6, 3, and all these. Wait, only one. That's a problem here. 4 of the Skylake Cascade. So that might be solved. So let's quickly fix that issue. Alright. And 4 evolving wilds. So let's see, another option would be to run the crumbling vestige. That might be tempting to put here. Now draw your trample. I do not think I'm going to be using that, so let's add a few of color fix and a mortuary mire. Let's go ahead once again. Now, one thing I've noticed is that when you're building a deck, if you ask the computer, the system to autocomplete your lands, it's not going to be nice, because for some reason the system thinks that having Foundry of the Consoles on every single deck is a good option. Now this is a nice looking hand, especially this combo here. So we start out with the Sunken Hollow that lets us play Warp Infiltrator on curve, and we can play Evolving Wilds later on. So on a later turn, it might be possible for us to pay 5 to get the 3/2 Eldrazi Horror plus the Weirded Vampire. A little bit greedy play, but we have Whispers of Emrakul here. So we have another blue source, so let's get Swamp here. And yeah, we make the opponent discard 1 card at random. Well, Thendikar's Royal. So probably some sort of landfall deck. And I'm going to say yes here. So we have a compelling deterrence. Well, yeah, get the evolving ship back, the evolving wilds. Now the opponent did not have a land here, kind of weird. So what about us? Let's first hit the opponent and see what we get out of the Wolf Infiltrator. Probably discarding the vampire here. So it is a thing in the ice that we do not want to discard. Well, a 3/3 non-token is better than the 3/2 token in this case. And drop the land number 4 so we can use Welcome to the Fold. Well, a nice interaction with the Dwarf Infiltrator and this one. The opponent has to discard because he got mana screwed. So this game, well, it's not going to be too amusing. But what now? Let's drop Thing in the Ice first, just in case we have to compare in the turns. So we start removing the counters and hit the opponent for 4. If we discard the Mangler, we obtain a 3/2. Yeah, let's see another compelling the turns. Alright. Let's speed up. Yeah. If the opponent happens to drop a cheap creature, it's likely that we are going to be able to steal. So opponent did not get the land. Let's leave the game because it's kind of boring to play against this guy. So pretty huge creatures he was discarding there. I think he did not got into the lands that he needed. So let's try our final attempt with this deck. So 2 losses, and after a little tweak on the mana base, 1 victory, but a very shallow victory against a mana screwed opponent. But well, easy comes, easy goes. We've gotten ourselves in that messy situation sometimes. So let's see, let's hope we have an amusing match. So here, I think this hand cannot be used. This is much better, much better with Dwarf Infiltrator and Murderous Compulsion. So opponent playing vampires, but with an oversized deck. Let's start with an island. Probably dropping Thing in the Ice. Well, thing is in, well, not vampires, or maybe the opponent is trying something pretty original. Maybe a Delirium deck, or no, this should be a Sacrifice deck with green and black. It looks like a Sacrifice deck. So if when we get to flip Thing in the Ice, it's going to be spectacularly powerful. But okay, let's drop the Infiltrator and let's hope that the opponent tries to attack with the Aristocrat, because this one having Skulk is not going to save him from a block from the Aristocrat. But if the opponent is playing with the Sacrifice, so now he should attack. Please attack. Come on, do your attacks. No, doesn't. And this guy has Death Touch. Too bad for us. Now Sunken Hollow comes, and Probably Thing in the Eyes. The thing I don't like about having the Thing in the Eyes so early is that the opponent has a number of creature destroying effects. We lose the Thing in the Eyes. But at least we survive against the Flashback Marauder. No, not bad. Opponent ramping. And this guy probably is going to be swinging at us. So Murderous Compulsion might happen. Swing. Of course. Skip blocking all the way. So given that we have our second Wolf Infiltrator on hand, I'm going to send this guy into combat and see what happens. Another Murderous Compulsion. Well, similar to the game before, but this time we have the option to cast those. Well, the opponent decided to not block, and therefore we get quite some value out of the damage dealt by the Wolf Infiltrator and get rid of the Greyblade Marauder that was going to be a real pain for us. Now I think I'm going to drop the Stromkirk. So Stromkirk has the powerful ability of letting us discard a card whenever we want to. So if we had mana open, we can use the Murderous Compulsion at instant speed thanks to the Stromkirk content. Wow, the new Nissa! I haven't saw her in play. So Vital Force, he can untap a land that becomes 5/5. Wow, with haste. This might be used to grant more mana, or he can recover. Wow, here my yes, she's pretty powerful here. So probably swinging with the forest, or what else? Well, 5/5. Come on, I'm tapped out. Of course, I'm going to let this through if she wants to. The only play that I can do here is discarding a card, but without paying mana. There's nothing big that we can do. So 5 comes towards us. Skip blocking. So bounce spells is going to be required to deal with that Nissa. Let's hope we get some. This until your next turn. So yeah, Murderous Compulsion looks quite nice here. Let's begin attacking Nissa because that's a pressing matter. So let's see the opponent probably blocking our Wolf Infiltrator. That's okay. I'm going to discard the Murderous Compulsion. That makes this one 3/3/3, and we get to kill a land. Quite something. And the Thing in the Eyes is about to become bigger. And yeah, let's drop the Skyline Cascade and pass the turn with mana open to instantly use Murderous Compulsion on the next land that is going to attack us. Because, well, maybe Oblivion Sour. the opponent exiled the Stitched Mangler. We lost a powerful combo there. And now opponent doing this to us. So if we send this guy back to the opponent's hand, it's bad for us. So I think we wanted to use Murderous Compulsion with this guy, but that means we take 5 here. So I'm not sure. Yeah, okay. The thing in the ice is not going to flip anytime soon, so I have to prevent damage here at all costs. So sending the Oblivion Sour back to hand is not exactly what we want to do. Yeah, well, uh, if we could get our hands into the how it's called, the bounce spells, we could get ahead. Animist Awakening, oh my dog, with our stolen lands. 1, 2, 3, 4. He runs Unbound Mysteries and From Beyond, so it's quite likely that Yulamog is inside this, and opponent can probably at some point activate the spell Abbey to get this guy. So sorcery or instant will let us return all the creatures from the opponent to back to his hand. Yeah, but let's see. 12 damage. So next turn he could activate Rogue's Passage. So here I think we're forced to block like this. This is a pain, but well, at least this deck is quite interesting. We got to see Nissa. Nice. Look at this combo, one of the most beautiful combos from our deck. Come on, these two are going to end up in the graveyard. Yes. Well, come on, where is the other one? Ah, no, that's... well, just one. This was Delirium instead of Spell Mastery. My bad. But why cannot we... yes, we can activate this. This one can finish Nissa, so we can attack with these two. And next turn, Oblivion Shower is going to appear. So the opponent has a land and the Oblivion Shower. If Yulamog shows up, it's over. But now we have this 7-8 to stop at least, or try to stop that Oblivion Shower from attacking. And we are losing a broken concentration, that's bad. And another Stitched Mangler. And the opponent got the Skyline Cascade to himself. He's spamming his guy before I attack. I would say that's not a wise play. So let's mm, of course Wolf Infiltrator, and well, we can get a +1/+1 with this guy, but probably better. I now realize that this one having prowess maybe would help. Yeah, we might have been able to kill the Oblivion Sower. +4. No, yeah, we got one land out of the opponent's hand and skip the attack. So opponent probably wants to hold this on defense, but also he can activate Rogue's Passage. Belwand Mysteries, not particularly nice to see. Yeah. Of course, 5. The opponent still activating the Westbell Abbey before he's attacking. It's kind of misplay here. So this is 5, but the opponent is at 10. That means that if we attack with all our attackers, he's pretty much forced to block. So if he draws something with oh yes, oh yeah. So now here the opponent is going to have to block our 7/8. Probably he wants to block the Stormkirk. And was the worst that we can. Okay, island. There we go. Alright, we're at 8. Opponent at 5. That means that he cannot afford to attack us just like that, but he might have some pump spell and given. Yeah, we won! Yeah! Probably a land over here. Woohoo! So let's see, 6. Hopefully he sends both into attack, but the computer, well, alright, we are going to take it. 2 is not dead, and in these colors there is no, well, in black he can actually use a card to kill us. Yeah, but now we can pump up the Ingenious Scav. Let's see, if the opponent has the fog, we die. Let's play around fog so we can send. If we send this, we win, provided the opponent doesn't run fog. So, no, we did it! Yeah! Superb! Now I'm happy because we escaped a dire situation there. Pretty amusing. Well, I hope you have enjoyed. So following up, we are going to be visiting some new decks using energy counters or whatnot. I recently opened a huge artifact creature that I want to try sometime. Let's see what this buster is going to prepare for our future. Malfunction. Oh, another enchantment that makes some creature unable to untap, but this can target artifacts. That is much more powerful than previous versions of this same mechanic. Self-assembler, I think this would be my fourth one, so we might think into running this set of assembly workers in some deck. Accomplished automaton for 7. We get to fabricate a very expensive creature that could be a nice addition in the Sorin deck. And Braal Bruiser enters tapped and has menace as long as you control an artifact. Well, 3 damage with menace is quite deadly, but only 1 health. We would run this in a strange deck, probably. Era of Innovation. Yeah, this is splendid to gain energy out of playing artifacts or artificers, and you get to draw out of this a nice looking enchantment for all energy purposes, and capture by the consulate. A powerful enchantment because you disable a creature, and also whenever the opponent casts a spell, if it has a single target, change the target to that creature. That means this card can protect you from many spells. For instance, Declaration in Stone or whatnots. So the opponent has to deal with the enchantment before he can target your creatures. So beautiful cards in Kaladesh. So I hope to see. Pretend that you did not hear that. I hope to see you soon again, and until next time, sayonara.